The Christian Church in Ohio makes God's love real. I'm Alan Harris, and I am your regional pastor and president for the Christian Church in Ohio. As 2024 comes to an end, I want to take a moment to not simply just review the mission and ministry in which the Christian Church in Ohio, your regional church, has been engaged this last year, but offer a deep word of gratitude to all who have held our regional church staff, council, commissions, teams, and committees close in prayer. Thank you. Additionally, I offer a word of profound gratitude to those who have taken the time to show your tangible support through volunteering and through financially supporting our ministries through either a direct gift, supporting the 2024 Renewal Initiative or the 2024 Christmas Offering, by giving to Disciples Mission Fund, or putting the Regional Church Operations or Camp Christian Endowment in your end-of-life giving documents or your will. Of course, we're also grateful to all who have already given to our major fundraising campaign for the future, our If Not Now, When, If Not You, Who effort. More will be coming about the latter when we launch our congregational phase in February. It's important to note that at our recent Finance Committee meeting, it was soberly observed that while we are ending the year close to what we budgeted for both the regional church and Camp Christian, we are still very much in the red as we conclude 2024. If you have not had the chance to support the mission and ministry of the Christian Church in Ohio, please do so. Or if you have given but have the capacity to give an additional gift, we encourage you to do so. Every gift moves us closer to a balanced year-end budget and helps us provide the care, training, support, and inspiration for which our congregations and leaders yearn. If you've been receiving our monthly regional church newsletter, which comes out near the first of each month, or you are receiving our mid-month congregational leaders mailing, you probably know how significant and how busy 2024 has been for the Christian Church in Ohio. Now, if you don't receive either of these in your email inbox and would like to, please let us know at ccio@ccinoh.org. 2024 has been marked by powerful ministry, expanded mission, and yes, even particular challenges for our local congregations, for our clergy and lay leaders, and ministry partners, as well as for the regional church. There is no way for me to cover all of what the Christian Church in Ohio has offered in terms of mission and ministry for the last year. But here is a quick snapshot. 3 Commission on Ministry candidates for ordination were approved and ordained to the ministry of Jesus Christ. 3 Commission on Ministry candidates for commissioning were approved and commissioned to the ministry of Jesus Christ. 8 pastors were installed to their positions, and I attended 2 additional installation services beyond the region. 3 new teams or committees were started to expand the effectiveness and capacity of the regional church. The Vision team, led by the Reverend Betty Sivis, the Church Transformation team, led by the Reverend Michael Dorr, and the Development Committee, led by the Reverend Stephanie McLemore. As your regional minister, I visited 29 congregations for worship and preached at 21 of those services. This is in addition to the multitude of phone calls and online and on-site meetings that I had in order to help church leaders in a myriad of ways. We offered some incredibly helpful and much needed events and programming for the life of the church, including a clergy spiritual life retreat for 60 clergy with the world-famous singer-songwriter Carrie Newcomer that was hosted jointly by the Christian Church in Ohio, Disciples of Christ, and the Heartland Conference, United Church of Christ. We resumed our biennial International Affairs Seminar, and I accompanied 14 high school youth and 5 other adult advisors traveling to New York City and Washington, D.C. to help us connect our faith with public life. This event was also jointly sponsored by the Christian Church in Ohio and the Heartland Conference. 2 additional lay preaching academy sessions were offered, one in the spring led by the Reverend Nikki Mazza Fredley on strategies for sermon preparation, and one in the fall with me on using multimedia in preaching. We had a once-in-a-lifetime viewing of an eclipse in an almost 100% totality on Monday, April 8th. Over 270 people gathered for a day of fun and crafts, learning, fellowship, worship, and of course, safely viewing the eclipse at Camp Christian. At least 70 of those in attendance were visitors who had never been to our campsite previously. Our first ever Spirituality of Fundraising workshop was led by the Reverend Stephanie McLemore and the Development Committee. A first ever Being the Beloved Community Retreat was led by Jeff Evans and the Congregational Renewal Team. We planned, staffed, and led a full summer camp and conference program with 12 separate camps, conferences, and retreats for 488 individuals of all ages. We expanded to over 50 the number of non-summer camp rentals and events at Camp Christian to move ourselves closer to the vision of creating the Regional Ministry Center at Camp Christian. We continue to be one of the leaders in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the United States and Canada in the area of young adult ministry. Our advanced conference officers planned and led retreats and a week-long summer conference. Plus, our newest offering, the Quarter Life Retreat, was held again in November for participants who are 25 to 45-ish in age. For the first time, I, as your regional pastor and president, offered a State of the Church address in 2 parts, looking at both the faith and theological situation that our regional and larger church is in, but also the physical and administrative condition of the church. For the first time, we held our biennial regional assembly in tandem with the annual gathering of the Heartland Conference of the United Church of Christ at Northwest Christian Church, which was considered a resounding success. Nearly 300 participants enjoyed a rich program with a keynote speaker, 2 musical reflectors, 2 global ministry preachers, dozens of exhibitors, our separate United Church of Christ and Disciple of Christ business sessions, a networking session, and incredible energy and enthusiasm for more jointly sponsored ministry and events. The Reverend Dr. David Long Higgins is their conference minister and a personal friend and cherished colleague of mine. At that joint annual gathering and regional assembly, our regional church initiated our participation in over a dozen networks which the Heartland Conference had already launched, which honor and focus the insight, passion, and faithfulness of our members far beyond what the regional church or the conference can offer with our limited staffing and funding. Our clergy and lay growth experiences for both our pro-reconciliation, anti-racism ministry, as well as for our healthy boundaries training, continue to improve with our twice annual awareness conversations and our online basic healthy boundaries courses, as well as our second annual on-site domestic and intimate partner violence awareness and prevention training. We connected our local church leadership with partners across the life of the general church in order to improve and amplify the ministry being done person to person in our communities. Whether it was the help of Brock McCracken at Disciples Church Extension Fund, or the Reverend Matt Rosine and now the Reverend Dr. Nadine Burton at the Christian Church Foundation, or with the Reverend Dr. Jose Martinez and New Church Ministry, or Mark Anderson, or the Reverend Monica Wedlock Kilpatrick at the National Benevolent Association. Maybe it was with Raquel Collazo at Disciples Pension Fund, or the Reverend Dr. Lamarco Cable at Disciples Overseas Ministries. Maybe we connected you with the Reverend Dr. Paul Che and the Christian Unity and Interfaith Ministries, the Reverend Dr. Lori Tapia of Obra Hispana, the Reverend Dr. Deleslin Kinnebrew of the National Convocation, or the Reverend Chung Seong Kim of the North American Pacific Asian Disciples. Maybe we connected you with the staff of Reverend Dr. Joel Brown of the Disciples of Christ Historical Society, or the Reverend Dr. Tamara Nichols Rodenberg of Higher Education and Leadership Ministries. Perhaps it was with John Goebel in Treasury Services, or the Reverend Chris Dorsey, or any of a multitude of staff at Disciples Home Missions. We have sought to provide the best resources possible to our membership here in Ohio. We've experienced a bit of transformation in our regional church staffing this year, and any change for a small staff like ours is major. In April, we learned that Reverend Bruce Bowerman Jett, our official food services manager and unofficial Camp Christian supervisor, was called to be the pastor of First Christian Church of West Palm Beach, Florida. And while we were certainly excited for this wonderful move for him, we also knew that one call meant 2 of our staff positions would be opening up, as his husband, Tom Bowerman Jett, our campsite manager, would naturally be leaving as well. Since their departure would be in the midst of the summer camp season, the executive committee moved quickly and created and employed both an interim hospitality manager, ably filled by Wendy Taylor, and an interim facilities manager, ably filled by Dave Stonebreaker Martinez, both part-time. By the end of the year, we had launched a search process for a full-time Camp Christian facilities manager, who we hope will be on the job by March 1st, 2024. Luckily, 2 staff remain stable and steadfast. Myself, as I look forward to starting my 4th year in April as your regional minister, and Jenny Stoddart Bernard, our regional administrator, who celebrated her 20th anniversary on the staff in the regional office in October of this past year. The Regional Church Council, as well as our Regional Church Executive Committee, ably led by our regional church moderator, Pastor Brenda Sanford, met regularly this past year, 3 times online and 1 time on-site and online, to stay focused on the health and vitality of the regional church. Our Regional Finance Committee, led by our treasurer, Lena Van Buskirk, has also met regularly to review the financial health of the regional church, and made a special effort this year to get a well-crafted 2025 budget to the Regional Church Council in time for their November annual meeting. The minutes of our Regional Church Council meetings and all of our financial statements from Treasury Services are posted on the Christian Church in Ohio website. As your regional pastor, I have been especially busy with the broader church, as well as with ecumenical commitments. I continue to serve as the secretary of the board for the Ohio Council of Churches. I was invited this year to be on the General Commission on Ministry, working with the Standing Renewal Team, as well as being asked to be on the Board of Trustees for the National Benevolent Association. Now, I automatically serve on the General Board of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the United States and Canada, ex officio, without vote, as well as on the College of Regional Ministers, where I am now serving as the co-chair of the Christmas Offering Committee. My role as regional pastor was especially poignant this last year, as there was a significant number of illnesses and active and retired clergy and lay leaders across the life of the regional church, as well as the deaths of a number of beloved clergy, as well as lay leaders who were integral to the ministry of the Christian Church in Ohio and the general church. In addition to these illnesses and deaths, I conscientiously seek to make myself available for prayer, support, and counsel to the leaders who are in need of such. The particular challenges of a church that is aging and shrinking, as well as living and serving in a political climate that has grown more divisive and tense, has occupied much of my time, attention, and empathetic spirit. I am pleased that I have been active in the peace and justice movement this past year. For example, in addition to attending several events on-site and online for the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, I have attended both a sermon and then an event on white Christian nationalism with the Reverend Jim Wallace, hosted by the Ohio Council of Churches. I also helped initiate and then signed onto a document supporting our immigrant friends, neighbors, family members, and colleagues, especially after some horrific public remarks were made by politicians about Haitian immigrants in our own Springfield, Ohio. You can read that statement on the General Church website, a statement in support of immigrant communities. I had several congregations reach out to me to help guide them through the open and affirming process to fully welcome and include in leadership those in the LGBTQIA+ communities. I'm proud to say 2 of our churches officially became open and affirming in 2024, Hiram Christian Church and Manaway Center Christian Church. Finally, none of this could be done without the hard work, care, and collegiality of our 12 regional church elders. These gifted and faithful servants provide pastoral care, congregational visits, and clergy networking far beyond anything that I could ever offer as one human being. They also represent me and the regional church for honorary events such as congregational and pastoral anniversaries and celebrations. When we gather for our online monthly meetings, I learn so much about our dedicated and Christ-led clergy and congregations. And all of this is a volunteer gift to me and to our regional church, which is a gentle reminder that regional elders deserve honorariums and mileage reimbursement like any other guest preacher. The Apostle Paul, writing in the book of Hebrews, tells us, "By faith we understand that the worlds were prepared by the word of God, so that what is seen was made from things that are not visible." Hebrews 11:3. As you can tell, the Christian Church at Ohio staff, leaders, and volunteers have been hard at work making real and substantial and visible the love of God known to us best in Jesus Christ. And none of this could be done without your help. In 2025, we look forward to learning from you more ways in which you and your congregation or ministry can be aided by the wisdom, expertise, resources, inspiration, and connections that the regional church and general church are best at providing. Please email me at aharris@ccinoh.org with your ideas and suggestions for how we can expand and improve our ministry. And please don't forget to not simply follow the Christian Church in Ohio via our website, www.ccinoh.org, or any of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and YouTube, but take the time to like, comment, and share our post. Doing so amplifies the mission and ministry of Jesus Christ as it is made manifest through the Christian Church in Ohio Disciples of Christ. And I want to thank you for your prayers and for your support.